Part 2. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 11. Chapter 11 The Changing Bronze Mirror. Buzz. A strong tremor suddenly sounded from Su Junming's body. The spiritual energy that had been slowly absorbed by him to enhance his magic power suddenly surged in from all the holes in his body, like a river bursting its banks. Uncle Ju's expression changed drastically, and his eyes were locked on Su Junming, who was sitting cross-legged. When ascetics break through the realm, they are most likely to encounter danger. As a protector, once the person he protects encounters a crisis, he must take immediate action to protect him. However, looking at the expression on Su Junming's face at this moment, there was no pain at all. Although spiritual energy was constantly pouring in, the spiritual light on his body showed no signs of being scattered. So despite his anxiety, Uncle Ju did not intervene rashly. He used his magic power to stabilize the Bagua mirror and maintain the operation of the formation to prevent the spiritual energy from being cut off. At the same time, his eyes were constantly paying attention to every change in Su Junming's body. Even if it is just the smallest detail, we will not miss it at all. In fact, Su Junming himself is also very shocked now. Just when he completed the integration of essence, energy, and spirit, converted his true energy, essence, blood, and spiritual power into mysterious mana, and took advantage of a rare opportunity to quickly absorb spiritual energy and improve his cultivation, he had been the motionless bronze mirror suspended in the middle of the dantian suddenly shone. Countless spiritual energy was sucked in from the outside. The astonishing speed and quantity made Su Junming terrified. So much spiritual energy was concentrated in his body that it would burst him. As more and more spiritual energy was absorbed by the bronze mirror, after the initial surprise subsided, Su Junming began to wonder again, what mysterious changes had occurred in the bronze mirror that followed his rebirth. Time passed bit by bit, and Su Junming, who was completely immersed in the changes in his dantian, could not feel the passage of time at all. As more and more spiritual energy was absorbed, a divine pattern that looked extremely simple at first glance, but seemed extremely complex at a second glance, vaguely emerged from behind the bronze mirror. Out of curiosity, Su Junming briefly understood. For a moment, a dizzy feeling emerged from his mind, and he panicked and stopped quickly. What a powerful divine pattern, it seems that I can't touch it now. At the same time, he also understood better that this bronze mirror that was reborn with him was an incredible treasure. Unable to understand this divine pattern, Su Junming simply started to transfer the magic power. Now, countless spiritual energies are attracted by the bronze mirror, which is a good opportunity to hone his magic power and stabilize his cultivation. 3 days passed quickly, and the divine patterns on the back of the bronze mirror finally stabilized. The bronze mirror, which had previously been a divine object, now had a bright light and looked a little extraordinary. Su Junming's spiritual sense touched it, and he instantly felt that the connection between the bronze mirror and him was a little closer than before. As soon as my heart moved, the spiritual light of the bronze mirror dispersed, and the familiar, ethereal silence, and greatly enhanced understanding came to my mind again. Almost in the blink of an eye, the talisman seeds of the corpse suppression talisman that had previously self-destruct quickly formed in the dantian, and at the same time, a white talisman and seal followed the corpse suppression talisman and condensed in the dantian. Su Junming, who was very familiar with various basic talismans, recognized at once that this was the talisman seed of the ghost suppressing talisman. Su Junming also had some insights into the ghost suppressing talisman, but he had not condensed the talisman seeds like the corpse suppressing talisman before. After the ghost suppressing talisman was successfully condensed, a new talisman seed began to be condensed. It was the imprisonment talisman that he had understood before. The 3 talismans were connected together according to the directions of the 3 talents, and countless insights emerged in Su Junming's heart. As these insights became more and more, the 3 talismans gradually began to merge, and the unshakable, imprisoning and suppressing legal intention became stronger and stronger. However, when the three talismans began to merge, the speed inevitably slowed down. But from the appearance of the divine pattern on the back, the blessing of the bronze mirror on understanding was more than 10 times stronger than before. Su Junming's rapid understanding of various basic talismans benefited from this. Junming, Master Nephew Su. The faint shout forced Su Junming to stop. After smoothing the mana in the dantian and pressing the divine brilliance of the bronze mirror, he slowly opened his eyes. Uncle Ju's tired face and worried eyes came into his eyes. Master Nephew Su, is the foundation building still successful? Are you in good health? The concern in his words made Su Junming feel grateful. Thank you for your concern, uncle. My nephew is in good health and has successfully built the foundation. Uncle Ju breathed a sigh of relief, with a relieved smile on his face, but soon became hesitant. Are you really okay? Su Junming understood why he asked. He had absorbed a huge amount of spiritual energy that could burst his body, but nothing happened. Anyone else would be suspicious. But the existence of the bronze mirror is his most hidden secret. Even the most trusted person cannot tell. Uncle Ju is no exception. Don't worry, uncle, I just feel refreshed now and my health is better than ever. Seeing that he was full of energy, full of youthful energy, and glowing between his brows, he indeed looked like he had made great progress in cultivation and was in good health. But those auras before. I hesitated for a moment, and after thinking about it, Uncle Ju didn't ask. After all, the other party is not his disciple. It's not strange to keep some things, or secrets, to yourself. If you feel unwell, remember to come to me as soon as possible. Yes. Uncle Ju changed his hand gestures, put away the Bagua mirror, removed the formation, and opened the door of the main room. It was noon at this time, and the slightly dazzling hot sunlight poured in instantly without any obstruction. It shines on the body, giving off a faint warmth, which is extremely comfortable. Hearing the noise, Axing and Xiaoyu, who were dozing under the tree in the yard, looked over subconsciously. Seeing Uncle Ju, the two of them suddenly became alert, and their originally groggy brains woke up. Master, senior brother Su, are you out of seclusion? Looking at the two apprentices running over and guarding Su Junming for 7 days, Uncle Ju, who was already extremely tired, didn't bother to blame them. Have your Uncle Four Eyes been here? They both shook their heads. Have you practiced hard these days? Master, my senior brother and I have been practicing for more than 3 hours every day these days, and we are definitely not lazy. Ah Sing also nodded repeatedly. Huh, I'll test your cultivation later. If you lie, see if I don't break your legs. After completing his daily training and strengthening his majesty as a master, Uncle Ju turned his head. Junming, you have just made a breakthrough, use this time to stabilize your cultivation and become familiar with your magic power. Yes, uncle. I'll go in and take a rest. If there's nothing important, don't disturb me. After speaking, Uncle Ju turned around and entered the main room. Seeing the door closed, Ah Sing and Xiaoyu came up to them with a hula. Senior brother Su, have you really achieved a breakthrough in innateness? Axing asked impatiently. Seeing him nod, their faces instantly showed deep envy. In their impression, the Xiantian stage was a state of cultivation that could only be achieved by masters and uncles. Now that a peer suddenly appeared, the mood was much more complicated. Practice hard and you will soon be like me. After patting their shoulders, Su Junming hurriedly returned to his room to study the new talismans and seals, and by the way realized the new changes in the bronze mirror, turned around and walked towards the left wing. Now he is able to live without food, and even though he hasn't eaten for 7 days, he doesn't feel hungry or thirsty at all. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 12. Chapter 12 Refining Talisman. After spending 3 days and becoming familiar with the use of magic, Su Junming took out the 100-year-old peach wood given by Taoist priest Four Eyes from the deerskin bag around his waist. Then he put out the foxtail that he had just collected from Uncle Ju. The foxtail has been processed by Taoist priest Four Eyes, and the evil spirit and flesh have been removed, leaving only the toughest fur, which is an excellent material for practicing magic weapons. He has thoroughly understood the method of practicing the corpse binding rope. However, in addition to the sacrificial training techniques, the ghost suppressing talisman and the restraining talisman were used in the corpse rope. These two talismans have been transformed into a stronger forbidden suppressing talisman under his understanding. Su Junming still needs time to understand how to use this more powerful seal script to make a stronger corpse binding rope. Therefore, it seems that it is more appropriate to use the 100-year-old peach wood to practice the talisman. After making the decision, Su Junming first used magic power to warm up the yellow foxtail, which was 1.5 meters long. He put it aside for the time being, and then held the palm-sized peach charm in his palm. With a thought in his heart, the phantoms of two bronze mirrors suddenly appeared in his black and white eyes. The peach wood, which was the size of an adult's palm and 1 finger thick, instantly turned into an almost transparent light and shadow in front of him. Every texture and scar on the inside and outside of the peach wood in the palm can be seen clearly. This kind of perspective, or the ability to remove the false and preserve the true, is a newly added skill of bronze mirror after his cultivation broke through the innate stage. Su Junming can almost imagine that with this ability, the threat of illusion to him will be greatly reduced. The difficulty of refining weapons and drawing talismans, especially those of refining weapons, will also be greatly reduced. After understanding all the secrets inside the peach talisman, Su Junming took out a demon-killing talisman. Under the stimulation of mana, although it was only a yellow talisman, the power it exploded was more than 10 times that of what he had used before. The quality of mana is much higher than that of infuriating energy. A blurry sword shadow emerged from the demon-slaying talisman. Under Su Junming's control, it struck Daomu twice. Thick peach wood, divided into 3. After careful observation, he manipulated the sword shadow to chop on 3 pieces of peach wood, removing some of the redundant parts, leaving only the most essential parts. After doing this, the half-foot-long sword shadow collapsed, and the demon-slaying talisman became dim. Su Junming frowned. The yellow talisman is not a magic talisman after all. Its power and usage time are extremely limited. Moreover, the hardness and toughness are not at the same level as the talisman, and it is easily destroyed. Even if the yellow charm is made of the finest yellow watch paper, the average service life is difficult to exceed 3 months. In comparison, the average service life of magic talismans, even the lowest level white talismans, is dozens of times that of yellow talismans. If it is well maintained, it can even be hundreds of times longer. With a move of his hand, the 3 divided peach charms fell into Su Junming's hands under the influence of magic. Green light flashed, and the mana slowly soaked into the peach wood, opening up the broken veins inside and removing the last impurities. Originally, this was an extremely labor-intensive job that required full concentration and the inability to relax even for a moment. But with the ability of the bronze mirror to break illusions and preserve truth, it becomes much easier. In just an hour, only the last essence of the 3 peach charms remained. He breathed a sigh of relief, wiped the sweat from his forehead, and looked at the peach charm suspended in front of him, which was 3 inches wide, 7 inches long, and 1 inch thick. It was maroon with a faint golden light. Su Junming nodded with satisfaction. Recalling 2 of them for the moment, I took out a small porcelain vase from the deerskin bag and took off the confinement talisman on it. A strong essence instantly emanated from it. Opening the plug, using magic power, orange-red translucent liquid flew out. The blood of these demon foxes has been refined by Taoist Master Four Eyes to remove the demonic energy, leaving only the purest energy. It has been warmed and nourished by Su Junming for a long time these days. Now it is most suitable for making talismans. One of the materials. The magic power held up the blood, and Su Junming's consciousness was activated. The gurgling blood was like a swimming dragon and snake, flying in the air. It started very quickly, but then became slower and slower. An extremely complex talisman gradually became complete in the void with the cooperation of spiritual consciousness and magic power. Innate stage monks can already draw talismans in the air. But because the speed is too slow, it is rarely used to fight in this way. The volley drawing talisman is only used in leisure time or when refining talismans. At the moment when the blood talisman was formed, Su Junming, who had been waiting for this moment, volleyed with his right palm, and the invisible pressure instantly shot it into the peach talisman. At the same time as the two came into contact, the golden light of the blood talisman burst out, and the infinite yang qi quickly condensed. In an instant, the place where the peach talisman was located turned into a small sun made entirely of yang qi. The powerful Ziyang qi condensed into a ball, which was the size of an ordinary wash basin. Su Junming looked serious, and the fingers in his hands were flying. After a moment, he flew a little higher, the thick yang qi quickly collapsed, and the previous peach charm appeared again. But compared to before, a red, extremely complex-looking talisman appeared on both sides of the peach charm. In addition, the entire peach charm exudes a rich milky white brilliance, and even has a hint of blue. After advancing to Xiantian, Su Junming finally put his understanding of the golden light talisman to full use. This golden light talisman made from century-old peach wood and the blood of the demon fox has reached the peak of the white talisman. He stretched out his hand and the golden light talisman fell into his palm. Feeling the rich yang energy in it, Su Junming was extremely happy. With this success, his confidence instantly increased. Putting the refined golden light talisman aside for the time being, the mana led a new peach charm into the air, and continued to draw the charm with the blood of the fox spirit. At the end of the painting, when it would be finished with 3 or 2 strokes, Su Junming became a little impatient, and the strokes became slightly scattered. Not good. Crackling. The exploding yang qi instantly shattered the peach charm into pieces. Looking at the fragments falling to the ground, Su Junming's face turned ugly, and his heart ached even more. Whether it's fox spirit blood or century-old peach wood, they are all rare and good things. If one of them breaks for no reason, how can you not feel distressed? Sure enough, one still can't be too proud. After sighing, he took a deep breath and silently recited the heart-cleaning mantra 3 times to calm down. With this lesson, Su Junming became cautious when practicing the last peach charm. Fortunately, there were no further problems this time. About 2 minutes later, a demon-slaying talisman flashing with sharp sword energy appeared in his palm. With the golden light talisman in his left hand and the demon-killing talisman in his right hand, the success rate was 60%, which was already high enough for him who was refining the talisman for the first time. At this moment, his strength has undergone a qualitative change. If he encounters that vixen again, he will definitely beat her into a scumbag. It would be perfect if there was a magic weapon or talisman for protection. Su Junming whirled around the 2 new talismans and thought greedily. After simply using mana to warm up the 2 talismans, they were put into the deerskin bag. Looking at the rusty yin-yang bagua, the bag has some ruffles on the corners. It would be great if there was a storage magic weapon. After sighing, he simply packed up the remaining debris in the room, opened the door and walked out. It was already dark by now, and on normal days, it would have been time to eat. But today there was a wealthy family in town whose son was over 100 years old. He invited Uncle Ju to come over for a dinner, so dinner was naturally saved. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 13. Chapter 13, Killing Ghosts in a Winery. Ding dong, dong dong. Chaotic noises came from the main room. Su Junming frowned. This was Uncle Ju's dojo. Ordinary monsters and monsters would not have the guts to act wild here. Is there a thief? He walked towards the main room with doubts. Before he got close, a familiar voice came into his ears. Brother, please slow down. If we break the master's magic weapon, he will kill us. Oh, junior sister. We made an appointment with Songlika to go to the winery to help him catch ghosts at 3 o'clock in the evening. If we are late, this business will be ruined. Senior brother, what if there is really a ghost? Don't worry, junior sister. With master's magic weapon here, even if there is a ghost, we can take care of it. How about we call senior brother Junming? He has great magic power and will definitely be able to help us. No, please don't. This transaction only costs 30 yuan in total. If senior brother Su finds out, we will give him another 10 yuan. Of course, you must be willing to give Su 10 yuan from your share. Senior brother, just treat what I just said as if I didn't say it. No. I have been looking at the set of Rouge and Gouache from Seeing Long Village for a long time. I must buy it this time. Su Junming listened and couldn't help but shake his head secretly. Upon hearing the sense, Xiaoyu's original hesitation was quickly thrown out of the window. Oh, woman. Axing and Xiaoyu packed up Uncle Ju's magic weapons and ran out in large and small bags. When they saw Su Junming standing not far from the door, they were dumbfounded. Senior brother Su, why are you here? Axing was surprised and embarrassed. Where are you going to take Master Uncle's magic weapon? Su Junming had a faint smile on his face. This. Asim showed a trace of embarrassment on his face. Senior brother Junming, the master wants to do something for someone, so let's come back and bring him the magic weapon. Xiaoyu said rather quickly. Yes, the master wants to do something for someone, so let's come back and get the magic weapon. Yeah. They both nodded at the same time. My uncle has great magic power and superb Taoism. I've always wanted to experience it. Let's go, I'll go with you. What, let's go quickly. Don't keep me waiting. Hearing the urging, the two of them had no choice but to bite the bullet and follow. At this time, it was completely dark. Jiquan town is close to the transportation artery from Lingnan to the north, with a prosperous economy and a large population. In addition, the local water quality is special and is very suitable for winemaking. There are no less than 100 wineries, large and small, which makes Jiquan town even more prosperous. Although it is a town, it has a larger population than many county towns. On both sides of the street, there are rows of trees, and the lights reveal wealth. Since coming to Uncle Ju, Su Junming has been recuperating at home. He has been focusing on practicing and preparing for breaking through. This is the first time he has gone out. He was leisurely walking and admiring the pure ancient charm on both sides of the street. However, Xing and Xiaoyu, who were walking behind, were very anxious. What should we do, senior brother? Xiaoyu lowered her voice. How do I know what to do? How about we just tell senior brother Su what happened tonight? No, let's take a look at the situation first. Xiaoyu hesitated for a moment, glanced at the back of the figure walking in front, and couldn't think of any good ideas for a moment. How about we find an opportunity to sneak away quietly? Axing rolled his eyes and whispered. Let's walk slowly. When we get to Hungbin Tower, take the side path. Xiaoyu nodded happily, expressing her understanding. Su Junming's ears trembled slightly and a smile appeared on his face. After breaking through and entering the innate stage, his five senses became sharper than before. Although Axing and Xiaoyu tried their best to lower their voices, They still couldn't hide it from his ears. Pretending not to hear what they said, Su Junming stepped forward. After walking for about 5 or 6 minutes, a 3-story restaurant appeared in front of me, with hanging lanterns and carved beams and painted pillars on the corners. It looked extremely prosperous. Walking to the door of the restaurant, the sound of people drinking and drinking could be heard inside. "Your Majesty, please." The young man at the door saw Su Junming's extraordinary appearance and quickly stepped forward to greet him. Su Junming turned around and saw that the shadows of Asing and Xiaoyu had long disappeared. "Let you suffer a little first." After understanding that this is the plot of exorcist Taoist priest, it is not difficult to guess the purpose of Asing and Xiaoyu sneaking out with Uncle Ju's magic weapon tonight. Most likely he went to catch ghosts for the winery owner Songlika. It turned out that the female ghost was so powerful that she beat the shit out of the two of them. Asing was also possessed by the ghost. If Uncle Ju hadn't arrived in time, his life would have been almost lost. "Your Majesty, Your Majesty." Su Junming turned around and walked inside. "Bring me a pot of tea and some of your best snacks." "Okay, please come in." Su Junming randomly found a seat in the corner of the hall and sat down. Setting up the altar took time, so he was not in a hurry to get there. After drinking a pot of tea, it was estimated that almost half an hour had passed before Su Junming paid for the tea and walked out. "Go outside and take out a compass and 2 hairs from the deerskin bag. Xianzong of heaven and earth, all phenomena are tangible, urgent as laws and orders." As soon as the mana was activated, the pointer rotated rapidly. The 2 hairs he had taken from Asing and Xiaoyu in advance burned quickly, and with the blessing of the tracing spell, the compass needle quickly stabilized. Following the compass instructions, Su Junming walked through the streets and alleys, and within a moment, he arrived outside a high-walled courtyard. The strong aroma of wine came from inside. Su Junming rarely drank alcohol, but he was not disgusted with the smell. After a brief inspection, he lifted his legs and flew up, landing on the nearly 3-meter-high courtyard wall. Looking inside, he almost laughed out loud. Xiaoyu pretended to be unconscious and fell to the side. Asing was on all fours, begging for mercy loudly and crawling forward quickly. The female ghost in red floated in the air, and the 3-inch golden lotus launched a series of fatal kicks, kicking Asing hard. Star's buttocks blossomed and she screamed in pain. Finally, he kicked Asing hard in the middle of the buttocks and kicked him into a shed. The female ghost followed him and flew in. Soon Asing's cry of dismay came out. Hey, don't touch randomly." "What are you touching?" "Oh, you're so sexy." Plop. Asing, whose clothes were torn to pieces, flew out from inside and fell to the ground like a dog. Su Junming couldn't help but shake his head. It seems that this female ghost has been holding it in for a long time. Before killing someone, she actually wanted to have sex first. Asing got up in a panic and was about to escape when the female ghost chased him and took off his pants. After a breath of ghost energy, he became unconscious in the blink of an eye. Seeing him being carried by the female ghost and flying towards the coffin next to him, Su Junming knew that if he didn't take action, even if he didn't die, this kid would lose his yang energy and become seriously ill. As a fellow disciple, Su Junming naturally would not sit idly by. "I will use you to open 2 talismans for me today." With a slap on the deerskin bag on his waist, the golden light talisman and the demon-slaying talisman flew out at the same time. Although he is still unable to fly with weapons at the innate stage, it is not difficult to control magic weapons and magic talismans against enemies within 3 feet. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 14. Chapter 14 Preachers from Afar. "You monster, why don't you let me go?" With a loud shout, Su Junming climbed down from the wall. "Senior brother Su." Xiaoyu is full of surprises. Here comes another stinky Taoist priest who is nosy in other people's business, the female ghost snorted angrily with deep anger. Su Junming took a few steps to close the distance between the two sides. With a burst of magic power, the golden light talisman instantly became the size of a wash basin. The rich pure yang energy, under his control, instantly enveloped the female ghost. Yang qi and yin qi are incompatible with water and fire. The yang energy shone on the female ghost, as if a fire was burning on her body. The scream suddenly sounded. Just as the female ghost was about to escape, Su Junming pressed the demon-slaying talisman, and a blue and white 3-foot-long sword shot out, pierced through the chest like lightning, and nailed the female ghost to the ground. The pure yang energy of the golden light talisman seemed to be endless. Under its refining, the female ghost's screams became weaker and gradually disappeared. A handful of flames ignited and quickly burned the female ghost's body to ashes. With a move of his hand, the demon-killing talisman and the golden light talisman fell into Su Junming's palm like a tired bird returning to its nest. After careful sensing, almost 1/3 of the spiritual power in the two talismans was consumed. If you want to do your job well, you must first sharpen your tools. This is indeed true. If it weren't for these two talismans, with my current cultivation level, I would have to waste a lot of effort to destroy this evil ghost. Li Gui belongs to the same realm as the monks in the Xiantian stage. It's just that this fierce ghost is obviously naked. Although he has good strength, he doesn't have any ghost weapons in his hand, let alone any spells, so he can only be beaten by Su Junming. Thinking of the poor life of this female ghost, Su Junming took a wine jar from the side and put her ashes in it. At this time, Ah Xing had woken up with Xiaoyu's help. "Do you feel better?" Axing nodded quickly. "Senior brother Junming, thank you very much this time. If you hadn't arrived in time, we would have died," Xiaoyu said with a grateful face. "Slaying demons is not child's play. Next time you encounter something like this, you must remember not to show off." "Yes, thank you senior brother for your teaching." Ah Xing also nodded in agreement. Seeing their shocked looks, Su Junming didn't want to say anything more. "Okay, it's getting late. Pack your things and let's go back." "Senior brother Su, can you not tell the master what happened here?" Axing said quickly. Xiaoyu also looked pleading. Su Junming smiled and shook his head, turned around and cupped his hands. "Uncle." Uncle Ju opened the curtain of the practice and walked in from the back, his face naturally not very pretty. Axing and Xiaoyu were like mice seeing a cat, their heads dropped instantly. "I'll settle the score with you when I get back." After scolding, Uncle Ju turned his head. "Junming, thank you very much this time. We are all from the same sect, so it is natural for us to help each other." "Uncle, you are so polite." After a pause, he pointed to the corpse next to him. "It's just that Song Lao Cao was killed by a female ghost. His family was not present and they don't know the inside story. I'm afraid they won't let it go. Leave this matter to me." Su Junming nodded. Uncle Ju has been in Jiquan town for many years. He has caught ghosts and subdued demons more than once. He is very prestigious in the town and is more suitable to deal with it than him. Why don't you go pack your things? It's embarrassing." Axing, who was stripped down to his underwear, lowered his head in shame. Su Junming pulled a curtain from the shelf nearby to help him. Seeing Ah Xing's grateful eyes, Su Junming smiled, helped Xiaoyu pack her things, and the four of them returned to Yizhuang. Su Junming didn't know how Uncle Ju dealt with Songlika's death, and he didn't ask. After using mana to warm up the golden light talisman and the demon-killing talisman to restore their original appearance, they left Jiquan town the next day, found a place to hide the wind and water, and buried the female ghost's body and ashes in it. Because she didn't know her name, Su Junming didn't erect a monument for her. After silently reciting the Sutra of the Supreme Being Savior 3 times, he looked at the new grave which was only 3 feet square in front of him. "There's only so much I can do. I hope you will be born into a good family in the next life and be free from disasters. You will be blessed by the infinite heavenly Lord. Coming down from the mountain, the team meandering not far away attracted Su Junming's attention. The men wore brown robes and broad hats covering their hair, and most of them were carrying heavy luggage. Seeing Su Junming standing on the roadside, an old man who looked somewhat similar to Master Yuxiu, with a Mediterranean hairstyle and a silver cross bead necklace in his hand, walked forward quickly, bowed and said with a smile, "God bless the world, is this Jiquan town ahead?" Su Junming looked up and down, and there was a bronze mirror in his pupils. The old man's Danshan and Tanzong in front of him showed no traces of practice, but his mental power was extremely strong. In addition, the silver cross in his hand had a strong white light. This light is extremely pure and exudes a bright and holy smell. It is obviously a magic weapon, or something similar to a magic weapon. Moreover, this silver cross is more powerful than Taoist priest For's corpse binding rope, and is as powerful as Uncle Ju's magical weapon Bagua mirror. Uncle Ju's Bagua mirror is a low-grade magic weapon that has been practiced with 3 forbidden laws. It is very powerful. Noticing Su Junming's gaze, the old man smiled slightly and waved behind him. A young man with a square face quickly took out a small tin-plated cross and handed it over. "The Almighty Lord bless the world." Looking at the cross handed to him, Su Junming smiled faintly. If the priest was willing to give him the cross, the magic weapon in his hand, Su Junming wouldn't mind saying a few words of praise to the Lord. As for this Zibe product, forget it. After waving his hands to refuse. Jiquan town is ahead. Walk 2 miles further and you will see it. Seeing that he refused to accept it, the priest didn't force it. After saying thank you, he continued walking along the mountain road. Monks in robes, carrying heavy luggage, passed by Su Junming. Watching this team gradually go away. The show is finally about to begin. Back in Jiquan town, Su Junming did not ask about the monks, but borrowed some yellow watches and cinnabar from Uncle Ju to draw talismans and seals. According to the development of the plot, Jiquan town will soon be full of demons and demons, especially the big boss hiding in the church basement. Even Uncle Ju is unwilling to provoke him, which shows how difficult he is. Su Junming has just made a breakthrough in AncientTimes. At this time, it is better to draw more talismans to be prepared. Dang dang. Early the next morning, the loud ringing of the bell woke Su Junming from his practice. He opened his mouth and swallowed the last trace of purple energy from the east. He frowned as he felt the slowly growing mana in his body. Without the Shangqing Daidong manual, it is too inefficient to only rely on the Deng Zhenju to cultivate mana. The master said that the speed of cultivating mana in the Shangqing Daidong Zhenjing is 10 times that of the Deng Zhenju. If this is true, the speed is not much faster. If you want to quickly improve your cultivation, you should get more pills. Okay, Su Junming thought to himself. With the bronze mirror around, his cultivation of Taoism was so fast. Since the breakthrough to the present, in just a few days, I have gained some understanding in the past 3 years, but there is still some fire left. The basic talisman seeds that have not been condensed in the Danshan have been successfully condensed one after another. Even the basic talisman of the Shen de Zhenju that Simu had given him for less than a month had improved greatly. Therefore, for other ascetics, the difficult and obscure Taoism has become a relatively easy task for him. As long as his mana can keep up, his cultivation level can quickly improve. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 15. Chapter 15 Bajuan Jin. The founder of the Mission Southern sect is Ji Hong, and Ji Hong is a famous alchemist. I think the alchemy skills of the Mission Southern sect are among the best in the world of cultivation. If there is a chance, I must learn it, Su Junming thought to himself. It's just that he has never heard Taoist Master Simu talk about the alchemy technique of Mission Nanzang. The church bells were ringing endlessly, and Su Junming had no intention of continuing to meditate. Pushing the door open, I saw Uncle Ju opening the door with his clothes on. "Master Uncle, morning." "Morning. Junming, have you seen Axing and Xiao Yu?" "No, but they like to join in the fun." Listening to this noise, they should probably go to church. These two bastards, if they don't practice hard, they'll just run around blindly all day long. After finishing speaking, Uncle Ju turned around and walked out the door. Su Junming thought for a while but didn't follow. He has not finished his training today. Moreover, the church bells have also stopped ringing now, and there is no such disturbing sound. It is just a good time to practice in the morning. When he came to the place where he usually boxed, Su Junming got into his stance and practiced Bajuan Jin. Although he has now advanced to the innate level, practicing Bajuan Jin can still strengthen his physical body, but the effect is not as obvious as before. After practicing it 3 times, Su Junming became even more yearning for the Shangqing Daidong Sutra. There are more advanced methods of qi training, physical exercise, and visualization that he needs. Squeak. With the hoarse sound of the door opening, Uncle Ju walked in with an angry face. From behind, Axing and Xiaoyu followed dejectedly. "What are you doing with me? Why don't you make breakfast?" "Oh." Xiaoyu responded aggrievedly and walked towards the kitchen. "Master, I'm going to help too." Asim didn't want to bear the master's wrath alone. After finishing speaking, without waiting for Uncle Ju to speak, he quickly followed Xiaoyu into the kitchen. Looking at their backs, Uncle Ju said angrily, "I'm so pissed off by you." "Uncle, why are you so angry? Axing and Xiaoyu have offended you again." "I have been playful all day long, and my Taoist cultivation is a complete mess." "It's really," Uncle Ju sighed heavily. Su Junming couldn't say much about this kind of thing. If he talks too much, he will look arrogant. If he talks too little, he will look arrogant. It is better to keep silent. By the way, Junming, the church has reopened. The evil spirits are rushing to the 3 evils, and Tai Sui will be killed. I'm afraid Jiquan Town will be restless. You should be more careful when going out during this period." Su Junming nodded. "Uncle, yesterday I passed by the church and found that the evil spirit was rampant and evil inside. But it seemed to be restrained by something. Is it your handiwork?" "No. No. When I moved to Jiquan Town 5 years ago, the church was already what it is now. I asked some old people in the town. They said that one night 10 years ago, there was lightning and thunder and heavy rain, and the church was destroyed overnight. When people leave, the building becomes empty. Because foreigners were involved, the town did not dare to demolish it privately. They just sent people in to investigate and found nothing unusual, so they sealed it up until today." "I see." After Su Junming thought for a while. "Uncle, have you ever considered taking action to get rid of the evil spirit inside?" "Of course I have considered it. However, my cultivation is not enough to suppress the evil spirit, so I take action rashly. I am not afraid of death, but if the demon is released and innocent people are hurt, I can't bear it. If I join forces with my uncle, are there any chances of winning?" Uncle Ju glanced at him. Now Su Junming's cultivation has reached the innate level, and his strength has increased several times compared to before. It is also a powerful helper. "Simuk has taught you the formation?" After pondering for a while, Uncle Ju asked. "Taught me." Su Junming stretched out his left hand, and 4 ping-pong ball-sized light groups appeared in his palm, occupying the 4 directions of east, south, west and north. There is a green dragon phantom in the cyan light group in the east, a white tiger phantom in the white light group in the west, a Suzaku phantom in the red light group in the south, and a Suanwu phantom in the black light group in the north. Each light group is connected to each other by 3 white thin lines. Have you understood the 4 symbols formation?" In shock, Uncle Ju blurted out. The formation is also one of the great avenues, with 1 UN and 2 rituals, 3 talents and 4 images, 5 elements and 6 combinations, 7 stars and 8 trigrams, 9 palaces and 10 towns, large and small circles, 12 major categories, and countless small categories, each with different functions. Its profound mysteries and unique functions are something that almost all monks will dabble in. However, the formation path is vast and easy to learn but difficult to master. Monks who can truly condense the formation diagram in the dantian and practice the formation to a certain level are not only rare in the world of cultivation, but they are also extremely rare. And looking at the formation diagram in Su Junming's palm, the 3 white threads mean that he has understood the 3 formation changes. The 4 spirit illusions of Qinglong, Suzaku, White Tiger, and Suanwu are 2 inches long, which means that the formation can provide at least twice the increase. If the overpowering thing is strong enough, its power will be unimaginable. Su Junming, who used the 4 symbols evil killing formation to refine the fox demon last time, clearly understood the benefits of the formation, was very attentive to his understanding of the formation. It just so happened that the bronze mirror's blessing on his ability to comprehend was enhanced after he broke through the realm. It also successfully allowed him to form the 4 symbols evil exorcism formation in his dantian. The formation diagram is the key to setting up the formation. With the formation diagram, any few stones can be arranged into a formation. If the suppressing object holding the formation is strong enough, like the golden light talisman used by Su Junming last time, it can make the power of the formation explode several times. If you can practice another array diagram magic weapon, then the power of the great array will be even stronger. When I broke through the realm a few days ago, I was lucky enough to understand the 4 symbols evil killing formation taught by my master, Su Junming said. Uncle Ju looked at the tall and confident nephew in front of him with complicated emotions. There are many disciples in mission, and although there are very few disciples who can break into the Xiantian stage within 3 or 4 years, it is not impossible. There will be 2 or 3 geniuses in each generation who can break into Xiantian in more than 3 years and comprehend a few talisman seeds. But he is the only one who can take into account cultivation and Taoism, and can also achieve success in the formation. He is only half a Taoist, but Su Junming. This boy's talent and understanding are really rare in the world. Junior brother Four Eyes is so lucky, Uncle Ju said with envy in his heart. Su Junming also saw Uncle Ju's appreciative gaze. The respect of a powerful elder is also a good thing for his future path. Uncle, can my formation help? Of course. However, if you want to be foolproof and fully utilize the power of your formation, you still need to make a lot of preparations, Uncle Ju said. You mean the final thing? It's not just a weapon to suppress the formation, it's best to have a formation diagram. Come with me. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 16. Chapter 16 The Sinister Ninth Uncle. Follow Uncle Ju into the main room and turn into the wing on the left. There is a desk next to the window. Sitting north and facing south is a clay statue wearing an apricot yellow Taoist robe, holding a jade ruyi in his arms, and looking solemn and solemn. The seal in the middle is engraved with the spiritual position of the founder of the southern sect of the mission sect of the Shangqing dynasty Bao Puzi Hong. Uncle Ju stood in front of the clay sculpture and bowed 3 times, then took down a black box placed on the left side of the clay sculpture. He walked to the desk, put it down, and opened the imprisonment talisman and spiritual sealing talisman posted on it. A hot and thick yang energy spread across the surface instantly. There was a pale golden material in the box that looked like linen. Su Junming was frightened at the sight and blurted out. Is this Dianko? Uncle Ju nodded and took the things out of the box and unfolded them. It was a 3-foot square object with a thickness of about half an inch and a grass-like texture. Under the sun, the golden light shines like a burning golden flame, which looks extremely extraordinary. I got this straw mat woven from Dianko by chance in my early years. I originally planned to use it to practice the innate Bagua formation. Unfortunately, I have been unable to understand this formation, so this mat has remained there ever since. It's in my hands and I haven't used it yet. Now, Jiquan Town is about to face a disaster. As a disciple of mission, it is your duty to kill demons and maintain peace. It is time for this mat to be born. After Uncle Ju examined it for a moment, he turned to look directly at Su Junming and said firmly, "We will use it to practice the 4 elephants demon slaying array to eliminate demons. It just so happens that my uncle didn't give you any greeting gifts, so this mat is considered a gift from my uncle." Su Junming looked shocked. Although his heart was filled with enthusiasm, he was helpless that this thing was too precious and he did not dare to accept it in one go. "Uncle, I can't do it. This mat is too precious, and I don't dare to accept it. You'd better keep it for practicing the Bagua array. Diang grass is a pure yang spirit grass that grows 1 inch every 6 feet. Looking at the length of Diang grass in this mat, it is close to half a foot. That means they have been growing for at least 300 years. This is at least a Dongjinzan Zongpan spiritual object. Dongjin's middle-grade spiritual objects don't require much skill in refining to make a middle-grade magic weapon. If the method is superb, it is not uncommon to produce high-grade magical weapons through sacrifice. In this world of cultivation where having a low-grade magical instrument is already a good thing, a medium-grade magical instrument is already the middle class among monks. Many people in the middle or even late stages of innate talent do not have a middle-grade magic weapon with them. Therefore, Su Junming really did not dare to accept such a gift casually. Uncle Ju took back the mat and nodded. With your current level of cultivation, walking around in the spiritual world with such a treasure is no different than a 3-year-old child walking in a busy city with a lot of money. It's a disaster, not a blessing. With that said, he put the mat back into the box. Seeing the scene and seeing the serious for your own good look on Uncle Ju's square face, Su Junming was speechless. God knows, he just wanted to be polite. Is this still the serious Uncle Nine who slays demons in movies and TV shows? Su Junming suspected that the person standing in front of him was a fake ninth uncle. He should chop him with the Demon Slayer talisman to verify the authenticity. He shook his head inwardly and looked at the black box with greedy eyes. I knew I wouldn't be so polite just now. Alas, I'm still not thick-skinned enough. After some testing, Uncle Ju, who was quite satisfied with his nephew's determination, patted the talisman bag on his waist. 4 talismans flashing with rich white light flew out. Golden light talisman. My nephew has a good eye, it's the golden light talisman. Time is running out, and it's too late to re-rehearse the formation diagram. Fortunately, my nephew has already understood the 4 elephants demon slaying array formation diagram, and now with these 4 golden light the magic talisman's pressure on the formation can suppress even the late Xiantian for a moment, and when the time comes, the master will have his own way to kill the monster. After receiving 4 golden light talismans that were obviously refined from Diang grass, I found out after feeling them that the pure yang energy in them was much stronger than the golden light talisman I had refined. I didn't expect that my uncle's understanding of the pure yang way would be so profound. He had a bronze mirror to assist him, but he still couldn't match the skill of Jushu Banjieze. I have practiced Chunyang Taoism intensively for half my life and have never touched other Taoisms. Naturally, I will have some achievements. However, your progress in Chunyang Taoism is much better than when I was young. It's just, what a pity. Uncle Ju sighed. Of course Su Junming understood the hidden meaning in his words. With his understanding of Chunyang Taoism, he is the most suitable candidate to inherit Jushu Taoism. However, he has already worshipped Simu as his teacher. Unless permission is given, it is a crime of great disrespect whether in mission or in other sects. The protagonist's treatment is destined to be no match for me, Su Junming sighed to himself. Uncle, when shall we take action? We have to discuss the reopening of the church at the mayor's house tonight. It's inconvenient. We'll discuss it tomorrow. When you do it, Uncle, just say hello to me. Uncle Ju nodded. When you go back, seize the time to practice these 4 golden light talismans and practice the formation. Don't delay important things. Yes. Su Junming said goodbye and returned to his room. After holding the 4 golden light spells in his hand and playing with them, the magic power soaked in. Because Uncle Ju had already taken back his spiritual consciousness and mana mark, the ritual training was not difficult, and it was completed in about 2 hours. Looking at the bright white talisman in his hand, Su Junming waved his hand casually. Under the guidance of his magic power, the 4 golden light talismans were placed in the east, west, north, and south according to the directions of Qinglong, White Tiger, Suzaku and Suanwu. Su Junming's heart moved, the formation diagram in his danshan rotated, and the pure yang power in the golden light talisman exploded instantly. Dazzling golden light soared into the sky, and the powerful yang qi enveloped Su Junming in the blink of an eye. The place where he saw it was filled with golden light, as if he had lost his direction. The formation was blocked and yang qi could not be exposed, but the movement of the formation still caught Uncle Ju's attention. Master, what's wrong? Seeing that his master suddenly stopped moving while holding the bowls and chopsticks, Ah Sing asked curiously. Uncle Ju glanced at him expressionlessly. After breakfast, you two will practice Bajuanjin for an additional hour. Cough cough cough. Ah Sing, who almost spit out the rice in his mouth, choked and coughed, with a look of distress on his face. The expression on Xiaoyu's face also fell. Any questions? No. Seeing the threatening look in his master's eyes, Ah Sing quickly waved his hand. If you don't have any, eat quickly and practice after eating. Master, am I feeling unwell? Xiaoyu said quickly. Uncomfortable. Here comes my one. Uncle Ju frowned. Although he was still a virgin, he also knew that women would feel unwell when they came to Tiankui. Then you don't have to practice today. Thank you, Master, Xiaoyu said happily instantly. Master, Ah Sing looked anxious. You what? Ah Sing, who originally wanted to say that he had a stomachache, looked at his master's cannibalistic look and silently picked up his rice bowl. Why am I always the one who's hurt? Ah Sing wailed inwardly. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 17. Chapter 17, The True Secret of Divine Fighting. Su Junming didn't know how Ah Sing was trained by Uncle Ju. Now he has completely fallen into the understanding of the 4 symbols of evil exorcism. With the 4 golden light magic talisman suppressing the 4 elephants, plus the blessings of the formation itself, even if it is in the middle stage of Xiantian, once it falls into the formation, unless there is a powerful magic weapon, or there is a certain knowledge of the 4 elephants formation. If you know enough, don't even think about escaping easily. As for the later stage of Xiantian, Su Junming doesn't know yet. But judging from Uncle Ju's tone, he can at least suppress it for a while. After rehearsing the 4 elephants evil killing formation, Su Junming took out the ebony statue of Guangong given by Uncle Li from Dahuashan. Compared with the ordinary wooden statue at the beginning, the surface of the current Guangong statue has a faint layer of white fluorescence, which makes the entire Guangong statue look a little more sacred. Holding the statue of Guangong in his palms with both hands, Su Junming muttered something. At the same time, a trace of light cyan mana flew out from Su Junming's danshan. The mana flowed in mid-air, like an antelope hanging its horns, and gradually outlined a complex spell that exuded a rich white light. Hurry as the law dictates. Su Junming stopped drinking. The white talisman instantly disappeared into the interior of the Guanggong statue. Visible to the naked eye, the white fluorescence on its surface is a bit stronger than before. In the dark, countless mysterious powers are also blessing the moment the spell enters the body. Repeating this process again, 9 times, Su Junming slowly opened his eyes. Looking at the ebony Guanggong statue in his hand, which was obviously more powerful than before, he nodded with satisfaction. Ever since the bronze mirror's ability to empower understanding became stronger, he had clearly understood the fundamental talisman of the Shen de Zhenju taught by Taoist priest Four Eyes. According to the master, I should be at the first level of the divine fighting technique now, and I can invite gods to take over. Just when I was about to give it a try, the loud bell suddenly rang. Being suddenly interrupted, Su Junming's face became ugly. The church bells are really annoying. After ringing for a while, the bell stopped, but before Su Junming could breathe a sigh of relief, the sound of piano and loud singing started again. The church was across the street from Uncle Ju's residence, and the sound was particularly loud early in the morning. And I don't know if the monks in these churches used any magic. The words hallelujah sounded like a magic sound to my ears. Junming, Axing, Xiao Yu, come out. Uncle Ju's angry shout came from outside the door. Su Junming had been meditating all night without taking off his clothes. When he heard the sound, he got up and pushed the door open and walked out. At the door of the hall, Uncle Ju stood there with slightly disheveled clothes and an ugly expression. Uncle. Uncle Ju nodded and said nothing. Not long after, Axing and Xiaoyu hurriedly ran out of their respective rooms while putting on their clothes. Seeing that their master looked unhappy, the two of them did not dare to ask any more questions. You guys come with me. Uncle Ju led them to the right wing room and opened the door. There were some drums, harps and other musical instruments that were used in daily rituals. One for each person, take it and follow me. With that said, Uncle Ju took the suana. Xiaoyu and Xin grabbed the sangxian and gong respectively, and in the end only the heaviest and largest red leather drum was left to Su Junming. Senior brother Junming, let's go first. Seeing Xin gloating about his misfortune, Su Junming shook his head, hung the drum rope on his shoulder, and followed with the drumsticks. Fortunately, he was tall, otherwise it would not have been easy to carry the drum, which was as big as a round table. It's just that Su Junming didn't expect that in the funny scene of the collision of Chinese and Western music in the movie, he would now become a participant in it. What a change in the world! When he came to the street, Uncle Ju looked at the church opposite with an angry look. Junming, have Four Eyes taught you the Jade Emperor's praise? Taught. Jade Emperor's praise is a famous Taoist tune, one of the tunes commonly used by Taoists when holding fasting rituals, so Taoist priest Simu naturally taught him it. That's good. Today we will play the song Praise to the Jade Emperor for these foreign devils, and let them experience the supreme immortal music of our Chinese Taoism. After that, Uncle Ju took the lead and blew the suana. Driven by the magic power, the melodious sound instantly overwhelmed the sound of the church's piano. Immediately afterwards, Xiaoyu's three-stringed instrument and Xing's large and small gongs were played together. Boom! The thick and high-pitched drum sound exploded in Su Junming's hands. This heavy sound penetrated the soul, spanned countless spaces, and enveloped the entire Jiquan town. The monks in the church were obviously aware of Uncle Ju's disturbance, and the sound of the piano became louder and louder. The noise about this competition between China and the West became louder and louder, and eventually half of the people in Jiquan town were recruited. Uncle Ninth, Uncle Ninth. A fat-headed middle-aged man trotted over with the hem of his robe in hand. Behind him, there was a young man with a slicked back hair, wearing a brown plaid suit, and an oily look in his eyes. Seeing the person coming, Uncle Ju stopped playing the suana, and Su Junming, Axing, and Xiaoyu also put down the thing in their hands. Uncle Ju, why do you need to make everyone unhappy this early in the morning? Uncle Ju frowned and took a step back subconsciously. The smell of garlic in this man's mouth was too strong. They were the ones who started the trouble, but they can't blame me. Uncle Ju lowered his chin and glanced at the few Western monks at the door of the church. Uncle Ju, reopening the church is what everyone wants. I don't care, the church can't be reopened anyway, Uncle Ju interrupted rudely. Uncle Ju, Jiquintown is everyone's Jiquintown. You can't have the final say all by yourself, right? The young man in a neat suit and a smooth mouth spoke. Yes. Reopening the church is something that everyone in the town and village agrees to. If you oppose it alone, you can't do much. A middle-aged man wearing a maroon mandarin jacket with half a money rat tail said with a smile. This person is Ma Xiangtian, the owner of the town's casino. People in Jiquintown secretly call him Ma Lao Yao. He is ruthless and does all kinds of evil. He colludes with the mayor's son David, the young man in a suit from before, and they set him up. Lots of goodness. Uncle Ju, Song Lao Cow from Fukang Winery died a few days ago while your apprentice was performing a ritual, a middle-aged lady with a seductive face and a sultry air sneered. Hey, what are you talking about? Song Lao Cow was obviously killed by a ghost, what does that have to do with us? Axing said angrily. Yeah, stop talking nonsense, Xiaoyu said angrily. Nonsense? Everyone knows this. All right. Uncle Ju shouted loudly. The evil spirit that had been hunting ghosts and monsters for a long time instantly subdued everyone present. If the church reopens, there will be disaster in Jiquintown. I'm telling you this, you can do whatever you like. If something happens, don't come to beg me. After saying that, he turned around. Junming, Axing, Xiaoyu, let's go back. Su Junming's calm eyes swept over everyone present, and he grabbed the air with his right hand, then played a few times with his fingers, smiled faintly, and turned around to leave. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 18. Chapter 18 How to Open a Forum. Go home and close the door. Master, those people just now were so abominable, Xiaoyu said dissatisfiedly. Yes, Master, they. Waving his hand to signal Asin to stop talking, Uncle Ju turned his head and looked directly at Su Junming with a serious expression. Junming, mission sect rules, no mission disciple is allowed to use magic to do evil, do you know? Su Junming knew that he noticed his behavior when he left. Master, don't worry. Master and nephew don't dare to go beyond the mission sect rules. Those few attacks just now were just out of anger and added some yin energy to their bodies. At best, they would only make them lie in bed for a few days, and there would be no big problem. 1,000-mile embankment breaks down in an ant nest. Many people fall into evil ways because they don't pay attention to some details. Realizing that his words were a bit harsh, Uncle Ju paused and sighed slightly. Don't do this kind of thing again. Su Junming has excellent talents. If he is righteous, he will be a blessing to mission and a blessing to the righteous path. If he is evil, he will be a disaster to mission and a catastrophe to the righteous path. As his elder, Uncle Ju felt that he had the responsibility to teach this young man from mission. Thank you, Master, for your teachings. I will keep them in my heart. Uncle Ju nodded, glanced at him, turned and walked towards the main room. Looking at his back, Su Junming smiled faintly. If everything goes according to the plot, his few fingers of yin qi are enough to wipe out all the scum in Jiquintown who are forcing girls into prostitution, selling cigarettes, and riding on the heads of ordinary villagers to dominate. Perhaps because of the big fuss yesterday, the church bells and piano no longer rang this morning. After breakfast in the morning, Su Junming asked Uncle Ju for advice on the Golden Light Divine Mantra and the practice of the Pure Yang Way. Although he has a bronze mirror, Jushu Banjiaz's level of immersion in Chunyang Taoism is still much higher than him. Asking him for advice is far better than working alone behind closed doors. Junming, Did Simu pass on the Shen de Zhenju to you? Su Junming nodded. Are you going to take care of both the Shen de Zhenju and the Golden Light Bagua in the future? If I can take care of both, I will cultivate both paths together. After a pause, he said, Uncle, Golden Light Bagua is the path of pure yang, so which path does the Shen de Zhenju correspond to? Simu didn't tell you. No. At first, the master only taught me the basic talisman of the Shen de Zhenju and let me understand it on my own. He didn't say much else. Uncle Ju frowned slightly. This guy Simu is always so insensitive and careless. Shaking his head, Uncle Ju organized his words. I haven't practiced the Shen de Zhenju, so I don't know much about it. However, your master said at the beginning that the Shen de Zhenju corresponds to the way of the soul. The way of the soul? Isn't it the avenue of faith? No. The foundation of the Shen de Zhenju is the Dao of the soul, and the Dao of faith is only an auxiliary. As for the specific details, I have not practiced and don't know. You have to explore it yourself. Wow! The courtyard door was suddenly pushed open forcefully, and rapid footsteps came in. The figures of Axing and Xiaoyu appeared in front of them. Uncle Ju frowned and was about to get angry. Master, something happened in the church. Xiaoyu's words interrupted Uncle Ju's anger. Something happened, what happened? A foreign monk died in the church last night, Axing said. Uncle Ju and Su Junming looked at each other and saw a hint of worry in each other's eyes. Let's go and have a look. Su Junming nodded, turned around and ran out of the house with Uncle Ju. The matter of the dead people in the church has become a rumor in the streets, and many people crowded at the door of the church, craning their necks to watch the excitement. Su Junming and Uncle Ju pushed through the crowd and walked to the front. From the windows on both sides, they saw the situation inside the church. A pale, lifeless corpse was lying on the table. Mediterranean Father Wu held the Holy Land in his left hand and a silver cross in his right hand, facing the corpse and mumbling something. The other monks sat in a circle around the body, praying silently with solemn expressions. There were candles burning all around, illuminating the gloomy church. Uncle Ju and Su Junming soon saw 4 black tooth holes on the left side of the corpse's neck. Their expressions changed and they silently withdrew from the crowd. Come to a deserted place. Uncle, it seems that the evil spirit has escaped the seal. Yeah, we're in big trouble, Uncle Ju nodded solemnly. Junming, how was your practice of the 4 symbols evil slaying formation? Within 3 feet, everything is under control. That's good. Uncle, shall we do it tonight? No, let's test the evil spirit's strength tonight first. By the way, let these foreign devils have a taste of the power, so that they don't know the heights of the world and think that our Taoist family in the Central Plains has no one. Seeing Uncle Ju's serious look, Su Junming once again discovered that his uncle was really a bit shady. After returning home, Uncle Ju took action quickly. Axing, Xiaoyu, set up the altar. I understand, Master. After the two responded, they quickly took action. Obviously this was not the first time that they set up the altar for their master, and they were very skilled in the whole set of movements. After about half an hour, the table, formation flags, tokens, talismans, alms bowls, purified water, incense burners and other items were placed neatly. Neatly dressed Uncle Ju, wearing an apricot yellow bagua robe and carrying a mahogany sword, stepped forward. The magic talisman opens the magic circle. 8 yellow golden light magic talismans shot out and stuck firmly to the 8 surrounding formation flags. The golden light flashed, and the 8 sides were 9 feet long and 3 feet wide. The formation flags with rusty talismans and seals began to absorb the airborne particles of aura. After doing this, Uncle Ju sat down cross-legged on the futon in front of the altar. Recite Huang Ting Jing orally without speaking. Su Junming also sat down on the left side of the altar. Judging from the look on Uncle Ju's face, he was obviously ready to fight the evil spirit tonight. The playful look of the past has disappeared from the faces of Asing and Xiaoyu. They are also dressed in apricot yellow Taoist robes. One on the left and one on the right, they are sitting cross-legged behind their master with solemn expressions, silently reciting the Huangting Sutra. Waves of Taoist sounds were connected in a line, and the atmosphere in the entire altar seemed solemn and solemn. For ascetics, the altar should not be opened lightly. Once it is opened, it means an all-out battle. Time passed little by little, the sun set in the west, the moon was in the sky, and the spiritual energy in the altar became more and more intense. Just after Haishi, Uncle Ju suddenly opened his eyes, and more than an inch of light flashed away. Turning over and standing up, the finger gestures in his hands changed. Junming, Asing, Xiaoyu, I want to open a Dharma altar to slay demons. You protect me. Yes, Master. Su Junming also responded. Tai Shang Tai Xing, wisdom is clear, the mind is peaceful, the three souls are eternal, the soul has no loss. Uncle Ju silently recited the heart-purifying mantra, then the body-purifying mantra, the mouth-cleansing mantra, the incense-blessing mantra, the earth-anti-earth mantra, the mysterious Yun mantra, etc. After completing all the steps to open the altar, he stepped on the gang steps. He pointed the mahogany sword in his hand, frowned angrily, and shouted loudly. Open! Just hearing a buzz, an invisible tremor spread from the altar to all sides, and the formation flags with yellow talismans on 8 sides moved automatically without wind. A misty white light emerged from the magic tablets, talismans, alms bowls, array flags and other objects placed on the altar. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 19. Chapter 19 The 8 Great Taoist Mantras. Seeing this scene in his eyes, Su Junming was secretly shocked. Uncle Ju's ability to open the Dharma altar is obviously much better than that of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Looking at the aura on the talisman, the power is at least nearly 50% higher than usual. This shows that Uncle Ju's understanding of the 8 great Taoist mantras is much higher than that of Taoist Master 4 eyes. The 8 sacred mantras of Taoism are the basis for opening a Dharma altar. The more profound you understand these 8 sacred mantras, the stronger the blessing of the Dharma altar will be to Taoism. If the talisman seeds of the 8 divine spells can be formed in the Danshan, the altar can even more than double the strength of the ascetic. It's just that the 8 great Taoist divine mantras are easy to learn but difficult to master. Even with the help of a bronze mirror, Su Junming has only comprehended the talisman seeds of the golden light divine curse. After opening the altar, Uncle Ju picked up a piece of yellow paper, dipped some cinnabar into the talisman pen, and moved the pen like flying. He quickly drew 4 flying crane talisman on the edge, and finally drew a soul-taking talisman in the middle. Symbol. Hurry as the law dictates. The sword finger shot out a burst of magic power, and the yellow talisman instantly turned into 4 palm-sized flying crane phantoms. Each flying crane held a talisman seal on its back, spread its wings, flew out of the formation, and quickly disappeared into the night. At this moment, in the church, Father Wu and his 2 disciples were praying for the dead monk. Crack! The sound of the window breaking attracted the attention of the 3 people. 4 palm-sized flying cranes crashed through the window and flew into the body of the dead monk like lightning. While the 3 of them were stunned, the monk's body suddenly started to tremble. This strange scene frightened the 2 young monks into fighting, and they rolled and crawled away into the distance. Father Wu was older and more knowledgeable, so he was calmer than them. After taking a few steps back, his expression calmed down and he muttered something. A faint white light radiated from his body. Especially the silver cross in his hand became like a small light bulb, looking sacred and extraordinary. The two young monks looked at each other, walked over tremblingly, and knelt down to pray again, but their voices were no longer as smooth as before. The corpse was shaking more and more violently, and a trace of black gas visible to the naked eye was steaming. At the same time, Uncle Ju's house. A wooden sign covered with talismans was shaking violently, and I couldn't hold it down. Laugh. Black smoke ignited, and the 3 corpse suppression talisman attached to it gradually disappeared. Uncle Ju was shocked. The corpse aura is so strong, it seems that the evil spirit is a zombie. The supreme Wuji, the universe suppresses demons. Uncle Ju shouted, quickly picked up a wooden dagger with a talisman engraved on it, and stabbed the wooden sign hard with a duo sound. It seems that Uncle Ju has also comprehended the talisman seeds of the corpse-suppressing talisman. And combined with the pure yang magic power of the golden light divine talisman, the power of the corpse-suppressing talisman has been increased to a higher level, Su Junming thought to himself. It was the first time for him to see this kind of compound talisman, and his horizon suddenly broadened a lot. Dong dong. The wooden sign was shaking violently on the altar, but the wooden dagger with the corpse-suppressing talisman engraved on it was as stable as a mountain. No matter how it shook, it could not be overturned. Master is so awesome, he managed it so easily, Xiaoyu praised. Axing nodded in agreement. How can I be your master if I don't have time, Uncle Ju said. Uncle, how are you? Su Junming stepped forward. Uncle Ju frowned and pondered for a moment. The resistance is very strong, the corpse energy is strong, it should be a black zombie that has become a spirit, it is difficult to deal with. Su Junming's heart sank. Uncle Ju was already in the advanced stage of Xiantian cultivation, and the zombies that troubled him were at least in the advanced stage of black zombies, or even in the perfection state. Junming, we are in big trouble this time, you have to be prepared. Master, don't worry, my disciple will do his best. Uncle Ju nodded. Master, what should I do with the corpse in the church? Axing asked. We'll talk about it tomorrow. The evil spirits are lurking there now, and it's night time again. It's too dangerous. Yes. Also, don't go to church at night from now on. Yes, Master. Xiaoyu, take this wooden sign and put it next to the ancestor ranking. Xiaoyu took it and put it away in the house. Su Junming and Ah Xin collected the altar together. While Uncle Ju used the corpse suppression talisman to restrain the corpses in the church gradually became quiet. Seeing the body lying on the table with its head spinning strangely and with a ferocious expression, Father Wu had a gloomy look on his face. God bless, the devil has been subdued, you cover him up. Several monks tremblingly got up from the ground and covered the body with a piece of white cloth. Not seeing its ferocious appearance, the monks became much calmer. Father, should we leave here? This church has been occupied by demons. Nonsense. We are believers in the Lord, how can we be afraid of evil spirits? Father Wu interrupted. Call. Before he finished speaking, a gust of wind blew from the window, and the candle light flickered in the tall church, adding a touch of gloom. Several monks who were already suspicious were instantly frightened to the point of fighting. God conquers the devil. Father Wu shouted loudly and held the cross high in his hand. Holy white light filled the air instantly. Under this white light, the darkness and coldness are slowly dispelled, and a warm and stable force calms the inner fear. The monks who had looked horrified before were now kneeling on the ground, looking at the bright cross in Father Wu's hand with reverence and fanaticism, chanting the Bible in their mouths, and appearing extremely pious. About 2 minutes later, the white light on the cross gradually dissipated. Father Wu took back the cross with sweat on his forehead, panting, and a look of exhaustion in his expression. But when he saw the respectful monks around him, he couldn't help but have a satisfied smile on his face. But when he turned to look at a closed door in the corner of the church, his expression became solemn. Originally, He planned to use the cross in his hand to dissolve the evil spirit bit by bit, and finally subdue the evil spirit. Unexpectedly, before he could do it, the cunning devil escaped. However, even if the situation is not good for him now, Father Wu is not ready to give up. Uncle Ju's figure flashed in his mind. Maybe we can ask him for help. That night, many people had an uneasy sleep. As soon as daylight dawned, Uncle Ju took Su Junming and Ah Xing into the church and carried out the restrained indestructible bone. When he came outside the town and found a deserted place, Uncle Ju drew a fire talisman and set the body on fire. Axing, collect his ashes and bury them somewhere with beautiful scenery. Yes, Master. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 20. Chapter 20, Sacrifice Training. Uncle Ju looked up at the sky. Thick dark clouds covered the sun, making people feel gloomy. It seems we can't do anything today at noon. Su Junming nodded. To deal with the black zombie, it would be most beneficial for them to do it in the middle of the day, when the true sun fire is the strongest. But now that dark clouds cover the sky and yang qi is not strong, which is conducive to the black stiffness, it is indeed not a good time to take action. While talking, a thin drizzle suddenly started falling. Uncle Ju sighed. Let's go back first. After burying the monk's ashes, the 3 of them returned to Yizhuang. Although the rain did not get heavier, it did not stop during the whole process. In the hall, Uncle Ju looked out the window at the church in the wind and rain, and did not move for a long time. Uncle, don't worry too much. Heajeng's strength will not change much in one night. When the sun comes out tomorrow, my nephew will definitely assist Uncle in eliminating harm for the people. It's rare that you have the heart to defend the law. It's just that Jiquan town is located in the southeast. It rains continuously in spring and summer. Even tomorrow, it may not be sunny. Su Junming frowned. This was exactly what he was worried about. If it rains non-stop every day, then Heizong will become even more powerful as he continues to suck blood. If I had sacrificed the Diang straw mat to you and transformed it into the 4-elephant evil-slaying formation, our chances of winning would have been greater. Unfortunately, it's too late now. Su Junming glanced at him and said calmly, Uncle, I have some experience in refining weapons. If the uncle is willing to give me the Diang straw mat, I promise to refine the formation diagram within 3 days. Looking at his serious look, Uncle Ju suddenly yawned. Junming, I'm a little sleepy. Let's go inside and sleep for a while. Alas, as I get older, I tend to get sleepy when it rains. Seeing Uncle Ju's back shaking his head as he walked towards the bedroom, Su Junming twitched the corners of his mouth and countless black lines hung down his forehead. If you don't want to give it to me, forget it. It's too sinister to always use it to tempt people. After these days of contact, if anyone tells him that Uncle Ju is an upright man, eager for justice, and an example of decency, Su Junming will definitely sneeze at him. Shaking his head, Su Junming returned to his room. It's raining continuously outside and everything in Jiquan town is quiet. It's a good opportunity to meditate and gain enlightenment. Sitting cross-legged on the bed, his heart moved, and a stream of white light flew out from the cuff of his right hand. In the blink of an eye, a rope about the thickness of a thumb, 2 meters long, like a dragon and a snake appeared in the air in front of him. This rope is completely white, with streaks of light appearing, and it is very magical. Su Junming's finger gestures changed. A chain of light linked by countless talismans emerged from the rope. At the same time, a legal intention of imprisonment and suppression also emanated. Tie up the corpse. This is the corpse tying rope that Su Junming made by using the tail of the fox demon and combining it with the ritual training method given by Taoist priest 4 Eyes. However, in the method of sacrificial training given by Taoist priest 4 Eyes, the talismans and seals for tying the corpse rope are the corpse suppressing talisman and soul suppressing talisman. The talisman used by Su Junming was the Forbidden Suppression Talisman that he condensed after comprehending the Corpse Suppressing Talisman, Soul Suppressing Talisman and Confinement Talisman. The power of talismans is naturally much stronger than ordinary talismans. Moreover, using only one kind of talisman naturally takes up less space than using two kinds of talismans, which means that he can condense more forbidden spells on the foxtail. However, although there are advantages, the material of the foxtail itself is not very outstanding. Especially the magic weapon sacrificial training, the further back you go, the more difficult it becomes. So much so that after Su Junming easily completed the first prohibition, even with the assistance of the bronze mirror, he failed to complete the second prohibition for 7 consecutive days. The zombie has escaped, and time waits for no one. Today, I have to complete the second prohibition no matter what. Su Junming made up his mind and silently recited the mantra to clear his mind. After clearing away distracting thoughts, a mirror image appeared in his eyes. After taking in all the details of the whole rope, inside and outside, he made a seal with his left hand to stabilize the rope, and drew talismans with his right hand in the air. The talismans with white light shining one by one were submerged into the ropes that bound the corpse, and a new restriction clung to the first one, extending upward bit by bit. The ritual training of magical weapons is like building a house. Every detail of the demon fox's tail is a brick, while the sacrificial techniques are the tools for building the house, and the experience of refining the weapons is the technology for building the house. To build this house successfully, not only materials, but also tools and skills are tested. Su Junming was just starting to practice, so he was not proficient in the tools and his skills were only entry level. However, the existence of the bronze mirror allowed him to see more clearly, adding a bit of mystery to photograph a cat and draw a tiger. A rope for tying a corpse, the priest is quite skilled. Buzz. The moment the last Forbidden Town talisman fell, the aura of the corpse binding rope was released, and in the blink of an eye, the aura was more than doubled than before. Su Junming wiped the sweat from his forehead and sighed. It's not easy. Refining weapons is really a technical job. If you were to practice the third prohibition, I'm afraid it would take several months. Practicing magic weapons is like building a building, the higher you go, the harder it gets. Looking at the bright and clear sky in the air, the spiritual light flashing, and the faint talisman binding the corpse, the fingers in his hands changed, and the 2-meter-long corpse binding rope extended infinitely, surrounding the entire room in the blink of an eye. According to the records in Taoist Priest 4's booklet, the maximum extension distance of 2 forbidden corpse tying ropes is 50 feet, and the maximum weight they can bear is 30 stones, which is approximately 2 tons. In addition, the greatest ability of the corpse rope is to confine and suppress. Anyone in the early stage of innateness cannot escape as long as he is trapped. If he could refine the corpse tying rope into a mid-level magical weapon, suppressing the mid-stage Xiantian would be a piece of cake. If he was entangled in the late-stage Xiantian, don't even think about running away. He reached out and made a move, and the rope that tied the body became 2 meters long again, and fell into his palm in circles. The tentacles are silky and soft, and the spiritual light is faint, extremely extraordinary. After playing with it carefully, the corpse tying rope was like a flexible dragon and snake, automatically wrapped around the wrist and hidden between the sleeves. Su Junming got out of bed after recovering his mana through meditation. Unknowingly, one night has passed. The weather on the next day was just as Uncle Ju had guessed. It was still cloudy, and in some places it might not rain. Standing next to the bed, you can clearly see the towering spire of the church. Huh! A trace of fracture suddenly came into Su Junming's eyes. At the same time, it reminded him of the Western zombie in the movie who regained his freedom after the cross inserted into his back was removed. This cross was originally placed on the church steeple. But on a thunderstorm day, he was interrupted by thunder, fell from the top of the church, and stabbed a monk to death. And the monk's body, for some unknown reason, was not buried or cremated, but was placed in the basement of the church. And that basement is the location of the three evil spirits. It is rich in yin energy and full of evil spirits. It is the best place to raise corpses. In the past 10 years, a black zombie has been developed.